Can we talk about Chandler Hopkins? I don't know what they're pumping out in Texas, but this man is killing it. But, I mean, you don't have to take my word for it. You've seen him on AEW. But, have you heard him? Oh, this is so good. I know where we're going to see Chandler Hopkins at next.
You should check him out on The Bird and the Villain.
Boom.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Bird and the Villain, infamous Marcus Gray, Uncle Justin Hollis, and Chandler Hopkins. I've marked out enough. There he is. Oh my God.
What's up, guys? How y'all?
We're doing good, man. You forgot to say the young gun, Chandler Hopkins.
I digress.
Oh, man.
I was redacted, Chandler. Redacted. This man, oh my God, this man.
You didn't say the young gun? I didn't even notice. You didn't say the young gun. I didn't even notice. Thanks for pointing out.
Justin, thank you. I got a nice pass. This is, man, Palē Pro Wrestling, New Texas Pro, AEW. And yes, AEW, lately of your matches we've seen maybe aren't with the best, but you want to know the Chandler Hopkins I want people to see? You know the people this is what I want them to see. Take a look at this.
Well, I'm packing up my game and I'ma head out west where real women come equipped with scripts and fake breasts. Find a nest in the hills, chill like Flint. Buy an old drop top, find a spot to pimp. Then I'm a kid, rock it up and down your block with a bottle of scotch and rock.
You're one of the most high-flying, craziest young gun son of a bitches I've ever seen, sir.
Oh man, thank you. I don't think I'm that crazy, but I'll take your word for it.
Bro, you had a crazy match with Mike Bennett. How was that? Like, can I talk to you about that for a second? You recently had what, through Palē Pro?
Yeah,
I'm correct?
It's Palē. Palē is a Greek term for wrestling. But yes, just wrestled Mike Bennett out there for them in Arlington at the 360 Arena, where Palē Pro is going to be having their new home at. That's where they're going to be at. So if y'all want to check us out, come on out. I think the next show is July 24th. But yeah, me and Mike, man, it was kind of crazy because it's like a long story come full circle 5 years later. But the short and quick one for you guys is basically, I went to a Mike and Maria seminar whenever I first started training almost 5 years ago, and whenever I wrestled for them that night in my little 5-minute match they had us do, I wrestled Fuego del Sol, and we got our match and everything, little 5-minute quick match. Afterwards, we were both like very happy, very excited because we felt like we did very well, and we looked at Mike and Maria and we just sat down in the ring, looked at them, and waited for their critiques. And both of them kind of like looked at us for a second and then looked back at each other and then looked back at us and was like, the only thing you guys are missing is just more national exposure, just getting the heck out of here. Like, that is it. Like, you've got it. Like, go. And so I think from that point forward, Fuego and I both, I know it did for me, but, and Fuego's doing big things too. So maybe it was a kind of a turning point for him as well. But, we just both kind of started like reaching out, going places. We jump in cars with each other. I think one time him and I even like jumped in a car all the way to Missouri right after he got off work just to go wrestle that night, turn around and drive back that night. We got back just in time because he had to be at work the next morning and so did I. So we just got out and started doing it. And here it was 5 years later, full circle. I get to wrestle the guy that told me the only thing I was missing was just more national exposure. Well, I feel like I've got a little more national exposure than I did then. And now we got to go one-on-one, and it was a hell of a match. I can't wait for everyone to be able to see it on YouTube. If you don't want to wait to go see it on YouTube, you can go to, I do believe, Fight TV and Title Match Network both have it. You can go buy it there, and you can watch it. We were the very first match. We got there, and we were just kind of talking, like, because we were under the understanding that we were semi-main, but we got there and we were just bullshitting around, just kind of catching up about the past, right? And we were told in the meeting that happens about 30 minutes before the show starts, the order. And Mike and I are literally not even ready at all. Like, they go, oh, our show starts in 30 minutes. They go through the rundown order, and they're like, Chandler Hopkins, Mike Bennett, first match. And we're like, hey.
What?
So, it was fun to be able to do that with him. Honestly, probably one of my top 3 matches ever. My favorite matches as well. Him and I just had great chemistry. I'd love to do another one with him. Be cool to build on what we've already got, and it flew really well. It was very very easy because Mike is such a pro. It wasn't anything that I was like, man, this is going to be very hard. It was one of those things where I was more like ready to enjoy it. It was I had been waiting for this since it had been announced, and I was just more, man, let's live in the moment. Let's have fun with this. Let's do our best no matter the outcome, and let's just go for it. And we had one hell of a match, and afterwards, the dude almost had me in tears. He grabbed the mic and started putting me over, and it was just one of those things like you have to see. So
I'm gonna see it
all over. Yeah, there's clips on Twitter, there's clips on Instagram of it. There's also you can go buy the show. So it was a great one to watch.
How hard is that on the fly to be like, hey, Chandler, you're up in 30 minutes?
Right.
It's whenever I first started, maybe even all the way up until maybe 3.5 years into my career, I would have been freaking out. Like, oh my God, what do I do? But now it's been so many of those. It's kind of one of those things where you learn on the fly, right? Like, you don't necessarily learn something unless you're put under the pressure, and sooner or later in wrestling that happens over and over and over and over again. So you kind of succumb to the pressure and you just say, hey, I'm ready. So it was kind of one of those moments like, okay, cool. I've been in this situation several times. This is all right. Let's get it done. He's a pro. I'm a pro. Let's go out and have this match. And honestly, I don't think it could have been any better.
Sir, if I can, again, Chandler, Smash Mouth Wrestling, if I can talk about it. You got a match coming up with Papa Dingo?
Yeah.
Are you hyped for that, my guy? Are you? Look, man. Okay, full transparency. You're to me, a high flyer. I know you may not think that, but bro, you get so much hang time. It's not even funny. I don't know what they're pumping out in Texas, but I seen your new Texas Pro, and you don't ever sit on the ring floor, man. You're going. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, don't get me wrong. AEW is my go-to, dude, and I love that I get to see you there. I love it. This is what you need right now. The young gun is here. But you got
fun, dude. That Papa Dingo match is going to be real fun for Smash Mouth. That's Saturday, too. So the night before that, I'll be at VIP in Dallas, and I'm in a Fatal 4-Way. So that'll be a fun weekend. And then I wish I could tell you where I'm going next week. But
no spoilers, man. None.
Florida is beautiful on a Tuesday.
It is.
He's good. Justin,
I've had the pleasure of being at Palē Pro. Well, actually, it was the Indy Wrestling Expo, the very first Indy Wrestling Expo in Dallas, the very first one. And I was talking to Kyle Hessler, and he said, Justin, you have to watch this Chandler Hopkins guy. He is absolutely amazing. And so that night, I watched you wrestle Lance Archer.
What?
And that was a great match. And then the next night, I believe you wrestled Chris Masters the next night, and defeated Chris Masters. And so
I wrestled Lance, I wrestled Sam Adonis.
Yes, that was right. Sam Adonis, my fault. I missed that too. And those are 3.
Chris Masters.
And so watching those matches, I immediately became a fan of yours. Like, you hooked me at the Indie Wrestling Expo. And then a couple months ago, I got a text from Kyle, said, hey, I'm coming to Jack's. I can't tell you why. Because somebody's debuting on Dark, but I can't tell you. And I was at, I was at the AEW event, and then he texted me. He's like, "Yeah,
okay. I remember.
yes, it's Chandler." And I freaked out. I was like, "Oh my god, he finally he's here." So, just for me, just watching you come through that, man, I am absolutely impressed with you, and the sky's the limit for you when it comes to wrestling. And the more people see you, the more people notice. You could just see on our comments when we retweet your stuff now, people are commenting on it. They're seeing you. So saying that, how does it feel to have to wrestle a Brian Cage, Wardlow, and all that? Somebody mentioned who'd you piss off at AEW for that to happen?
I've been sitting here thinking about, I don't know, man, who did I piss off? But wrestling those three guys is awesome. It was the first time I ever wrestled with Wardlow, but I understood what I was there to do. He's in a heated storyline right now, so I understood what it was going to be, but I also understood that what they were asking me to do was going to be watched. And someone had mentioned something on Instagram, maybe it was Facebook. They took 3 pictures, one from Lance match, one from Wardlow's match, and one from the Brian Cage match. And they posted it, and they said something about, now this is paying dues. Now, am I saying that is 100% paying dues? No, but I am saying that I am being respectful enough to say, hey, I'm here to work. And I think that's what AEW sees whenever I go out there, because every time I've been there, I've had 6 matches for them. Every time I've gone out there, first time was with Joey Janela. I did what they asked me to do. I helped get Joey Janela over. We put on a badass little match, had fun. Boom. Joey went over, and he's on his little story. That's what I was there to do. Second match, I had to help build Team Taz. I've wrestled Brian Cage 4 or 5 times now, so I knew what I was getting into with that. First time I was in the real ring with Hobbs, absolute monster. He's a pleasure to work with, though. And I'm from Texas. I've seen Ricky work many times. I've shared the ring with Ricky, so I knew what I was there to do again. And AEW was testing me. Hey, do what we ask. I did what you're asking. I'm trying to earn a job. See, that's all I'm doing. I'm not saying it's 100% paying dues, but at the same time, like, I want a job. I'm gonna do my damnedest and my best to earn a spot. And if they want to see if I'm going to do things for them, I'm absolutely here to do it. And that's what I'm doing. I'm helping with their talent. I respect their talent. And, I would like to be there one day. And I think that's just the way it works around most places, especially when you get to a bigger company. Like, hey, we're giving you an opportunity. What are you willing to do for us?
Right.
It's a give and take whenever you get to a different level in this business. And I'm trying to learn that as I go. I'm trying to also be able to stay in the moment and like live my life too. I don't want to forget, I have a life outside of wrestling, and I'm trying to do my best to balance both of those. It's not always easy, but at the same time, like, it's fun.
Right.
And I wouldn't change it for the world. So.
Well, I mean, you can definitely tell that. And I like that you have that very old school mentality about paying dues. And with AEW Rampage coming up, there's more opportunities for you to grow. I mean, we've seen like the Sean Deans and the Big Lee Shotties who've paid, dude, we've seen it from AEW start paid dues, sign contracts, but what I want, and I admire that. What I had to ask you though is, if you were going to be in the tag team, Bounty Keith, my friend, Is he somebody you would like to see become a tag team, like not just in Ring of Honor, but like, are you a tag team or solo? Like, what do you prefer better?
I love both types of wrestling. I actually have a tag team partner, and I actually live with my tag team partner. Y'all should look him up. We're called the Rodeo. His name is the Magnificent Malico. He's a crazy clown, and we've got a storyline with each other, and we call ourselves the Rodeo. He's the crazy clown in the rodeo, and I'm the cowboy. And we're actually this belt right here is the Texoma Pro Tag Team Champions, and that's where we actually have that belt at. That's a tag team belt as well with Cam Cole up in Arkansas, and then that is just a singles belt. So that's the pure open. That's
just a singles belt.
I'm sorry, I'm totally geeky.
That's my baby. Don't get me wrong. That's my baby. That's
just a singles belt.
But I like to tag with Brian Keith, though.
Right.
Absolutely. I think that would be something that him and I could really just come together on and, make something out of nothing. We're both very similar. I do feel like he is a brute style wrestler, but that boy is, oh my God, he's so quick. And I don't know how he's as fast and agile as he is and as big as he is. Like, dude's an animal. So the things we could do together as a tag team, absolutely. I think we could dominate in literally any place we went.
Right.
But is that going to happen? I don't know. Did I make a tweet to ROH asking it? I damn sure did. You know, because that's just, I mean, Keith and I have never wrestled each other one-on-one. We talk to each other all the time when we're at shows together. I wouldn't say like we're the closest of friends, but we are very close to each other in a sense of wrestling. Like, we just wrestled Mike Bennett night after night from each other. I wrestled him Saturday night. He wrestled him Sunday night. Mike put both of us over. Mike's at ROH. Mike has a thing with the Kingdom, right? Taven. Why wouldn't we go up there and wrestle Mike Bennett and Taven as a tag team? Break it in, build a story with them guys. We have good chemistry with Mike. If Taven's anything like Mike, which I kind of figure he is, they're best friends.
Right.
I think we could do some killer stuff together. And who knows? Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. But at the same time, I'm open to anything. I just want to wrestle.
I don't know, man. I mean, you're built for wrestling too. I mean, you're built like a beast. We're just talking. Dude, were we not talking about his regiment?
Oh man,
dude, you're beef, man. Like you're built like that. Jeez, like
I have a very high metabolism.
I used to.
Can I ask you, Jim Cornette though?
Oh.
Like, dude. Let me. I had to go there. I may have touched the nerve. I may have slightly, but let me just say something, dude. You are. I hope I'm not drooling when I'm saying this. Like, dude, man, you're making me look bad. Like, what was all that for? Like, was he just?
I don't honestly know. I had a buddy tag me in something that he had said, and he had said that I'm trying to think of the words now because it didn't care, but something about it wasn't in shape whatsoever. I had no physical appearance whatsoever. And it was after the Lance Hoyt match.
Right.
And sorry, I got a hair in my mouth, my beard. He was talking about the Lance Hoyt match, and whatever. I didn't care, but it was one of those things where like, hey, it's Jim Cornette saying this about me. Like, I've got to take advantage of it and see. Like, honestly, I was only doing it to see if he would actually tweet back. And he did. He replied. So all it did was just give me a little more social media attention. He ended up blocking me anyways. But and it's funny. Me too. Politician trying to get on ROH, and he's over there too. So I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like, I think a lot of it was in fun and games, but at the same time, like, I'm still a man, and if you're gonna come at me, I mean, I'm gonna come right back at you. I mean, I don't care if you like it or not. Like, that's just the golden rule, baby.
Don't worry. Cornette has many of us blocked, so it's okay. So you mentioned one of your top 3 matches. What are your top 3 matches of all time?
Oh man. So in no specific order, I'll just give you the 3. Myself and AR Fox at VIP. That was one of my first like actual big names to work, and at like the place I was working at, so I knew it was literally like A+ delivery or you're screwed kind of thing. So went out there, and like if I could go back and do it again, I would have that. There was not a thing I would change. I would have the exact same match with that man, and it was literally one of my favorite matches. Second, of course, the Mike Bennett. Mike Bennett was literally, man. That was a flawless match, like, and how smooth we were.
I want to see it. Like, you have literally stalled me on this match, guy. I need to see you and Mike Bennett, bro.
Oof. Yeah, I've watched that match already, like, probably a good 10 times. And then third would probably be Chavo Guerrero Jr. Chavo will probably always stay number 1 simply because of what he taught me that day. Like, it was literally one of those things where I did not know what I was getting myself into. He was the first name I'd ever worked. The guy, AR Fox, I think was like 2 or 3, and then Bennett, man, now Bennett's on down the road, but he's still one of my favorites. But Chavo was the guy that let me know I had what it took to make it in this business. And I wrestled him for a company called IWR. They're no longer around, but we worked out there, and he asked to wrestle me. But I was one of their champions at the time, so the promoter was kind of hesitant and like, I can't have him lose. And the Chavo was like, I didn't ask for that. So it was kind of cool that like he had already been watching a little bit, paying attention, and he kind of was ready for me, I guess, to teach me a little bit, and he did. Literally, I got there that day, and he was like, "What's up, kid? How are you?" And we introduced ourselves, and he just he told me, he's like, "All right, cool. I need a couple things from me," and he asked for what my finisher was. He asked for a couple of my big moves and what my comeback was. And I told him, and as soon as I told him, he was like, "All right, cool, see you out there." And he walked away from me. We were semi-main event. I didn't see him again until we got in the ring. And I went out first. He came out afterwards. It was one of those things where I didn't know, okay, hey, you're either going to sink or swim, and this is your test. Like, you better, survive being thrown to the wolves. Here you go. This is your shot. And man, he put everything where he wanted it on the fly. He called the entire match in there, and that was my first real experience with, this is wrestling. This is how it works. And ever since then, I've come to a spot in any point in my match. Like, I don't want to plan out A through Z. I get it. Like, there's a spot and a time for all that stuff, but I would rather plan out A, B, C, D, and chill till LMNO and do our own thing, play around, and we'll come back, down the line around QRST, and maybe we'll hit Y and Z for the finish.
Fair enough.
I enjoy that because it lets us be creative now, right? Because I feel like too many times now, wrestlers, we've planned these things out and just going, and all of a sudden, the crowd says, "Hey, one more time," or splash the water in his face from a water bottle or something you may drink out of, or whatever. Hit him with the chair, whatever the case may be. It takes out a lot of the excitement away.
Right.
I can go and grab a chair now and say, "Ooh, I'm going to hit you with this," and the ref can take it away from me, and we can have a whole thing with the chair for a little bit and have some fun with everybody instead of just boom on to the next spot.
Right.
I enjoy that type of match. I enjoy that very much, and that's what Chavo taught me. Chavo gave me my first insight on what it was like to actually be a professional wrestler, and I do that all the time. I did it with Mike Saturday, and that was one of the things Mike told me. He's like, "Oh, dude, you were there forever. You took what you wanted. You called spots out there. You had things ready to go. It was great." And I was like, I got to wrestle Chavo literally a year into my career, and here I am almost 5 years later. So I've had 4 years to build on that. And the last 2, I've really been honing it in. So I don't know, man. Those would probably be the top 3: Chavo, AR Fox, and Mike Bennett.
Well, before I get to my fanboy question, do we have questions?
It looks like Lori, I don't know where we're going with this, but she like to know the history of the profile pic on Twitter.
Oh man, is it the one of me? I think it's a suicide dive. I think is the
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. That was at Warrior Wrestling in Chicago, maybe a year ago. I do the big taker dive over the top rope as one of my dives. Dive and just sprawl out real big. That was where that was at, and I was actually doing the taker dive right there. So that is the story behind the profile picture on my Twitter.
Like I said, well, I got to see one of your shooting star presses. That was highly, highly impressive. And I'm sorry, like I said, Justin is going to make fun of me so much. I'm trying to hold in my fans. Dude, I'm trying so hard. No, it's just I like when you say you have a balance between this and life. And then in these 5 years, like you said, there's a lot of sink or swim, and the way how you take it and how you've been taking this on, especially when you're in ring, you can go with the flow. you notice that. I noticed that when you do that in New Texas Pro. Like it's a fluid. It's very fluid. Like, who are your inspirations? Like, when did you wake up and say, okay, I got to be a wrestler? This is what I'm gonna do. Like, I know it, man. Like, what happened?
I don't know that I ever just woke up and was like, this is what I was gonna do. I was always, like most wrestlers, I was always a fan when I was very young, but I didn't get to watch, start actually watching wrestling until I was like 10 or 11. And that's because my stepdad came around and my mom worked nights at a hospital, so I was only allowed to watch like G-rated stuff around mom. And dad came around, like we got to start watching wrestling because he worked in communications, so we got all the pay-per-views for free and stuff. So that was cable, before we have all the streaming stuff for it. Anyways. But no, it was just one of those things. I kind of fell in love with the Attitude Era. It's kind of when I started watching. The Rock and Stone Cold were just two guys that just captivated me every single time they came on the TV. So I try to really, like, The Rock and Shawn Michaels, I model a lot of my selling after. Like, those two guys, I think they're two of the best sellers. They knew how to entertain a crowd. They knew how to make something mean something instead of just who I took a move or I got chopped in the chest. They knew how to get the crowd behind them. So I try and model a lot of my selling wise from those two guys. But and like kind of move sets, it was really just one of those things where I just tried a whole bunch of stuff and seeing what I liked and fit. And, I've taken things from here and there from people. Seth Rollins does the forearm snap suplex Falcon thing. I just kind of turned it into my own thing, and he does suplex Falcon Arrow or something like that. I just added AJ Styles forearm to it because I'm an AJ Styles mark. But Morrison, Johnny Mundo, Johnny Impact. He's got too many damn names now.
I know.
I took his sliding German off the second ropes because it's just a beautiful move and it's not easy to do, but I can do it and make it look good enough to where it's believable. So and then the shooting star press was Matt Seidel, man, all the way.
Really?
Yeah. I watched Matt Seidel's shooting star press over and over and over. And the reason I like that shooting star press is because a lot of people, when they do their shooter, they'll go up and then they'll backflip here and then come down. No sprawl. Like that's the beauty of it. Like the length. Can I touch my toes to my head while I'm rotating before I splash on this guy? And that's something Matt Seidel was very good at. So I wanted to model mine after that. And I grew up in a swimming pool and jumping off diving boards, so I knew I could do the gainer, which is essentially what a shooting star press is. I had been doing it for years, but I just had to practice, aiming accuracy was one of the things that like I wanted to make sure, because once I'm in the air, I can't do nothing, and it's one of those things where the accuracy has to be there on point every single time. And it was a move I could do. It was a move I love to do, and it's an exciting move to see. So I was like, cool, there it is. Let's slam that in as the finisher. And I have Matt. Literally, that's the guy I watched for, and I've told him that several times. He's like, oh man, thank you, because he's a real humble dude, but at the same time, like, he's the guy I watched.
That's because, like, sorry, like you said, like, do you still, when that happens, does your heart pound like hard when you're in the air? Like, and is it because you can't see anything? Like,
yeah,
you still get that? What I'm asking is, do you get that rush still when you do it?
It depends. Like, It definitely varies. When I first started doing it, yes, it was every single time. My heart was like, oh God, here we go.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, oh hell yeah, this is awesome. Let's get this. But it's just one of those feelings that's you just become used to, kind of like we were talking about earlier. Just once you do it so many times, I've got over 550 matches now under my belt. I have a lot of experience now in a ring, and that's less than 5 years. I was just very fortunate enough to get in with several companies that literally worked weekly. So I was from the start working four shows a week or a month. Like just getting the reps. And once you get the reps, that's all that matters.
That's awesome. I don't know. I'd have a heart attack trying to do that. I'd break my neck anyway trying to do that shooting star press.
Or into a pool.
Yeah. So Lori asked a question. She said, what part of Texas are you from?
I am from Amarillo, Texas. I was born and raised in Dumas.
Ah, okay. And Mind Runner says, if you could join any faction in AEW, which one would you fit best with?
Any of the factions that are currently going on, I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and say Dark Order simply because I think the only accurate answer for that is Adam Page. I don't feel like there's any other faction that I would fit into. I feel like Adam and I could start our own like faction. Bring Brian Keith with us.
Thank you.
We could do our own thing. There's not been a dominant cowboy faction in I don't know how long, forever. Like Jesus.
West Texas Rednecks.
Yeah.
WCW.
But I mean, I don't know. That would be the only place like that would make sense. Honestly, there is me and Adam Page. I think that could be a badass faction we could start.
That would be a good match, though. You versus Adam Page.
That would be a really good match.
That would be awesome. AEW. If anyone's watching,
Because that's what's missing. You see all these. You've seen a lot of people from Texas, like we had Ryan Justice a few weeks ago, and like it seems like there's this pocket reserve of just amazing talent in Texas. I mean, what are you guys doing down there that's different? I mean, can you tell from just being down there in the indie scene in Texas and the things you see and the people you get to interact with more recently? When you're not making those trips on Tuesdays, like what's the scene like down there? I get a feeling it's completely different.
Man, I think the biggest difference Texas has, this isn't a shot at anybody around the world because everybody is good at the wrestling that they do in their area, but every area has a little bit different wrestling. Down here in Texas, we do a lot of the quick-paced, high-flying stuff, but at the same time, we also tell a lot of stories. We don't just have a whole, like I said, we don't run A through Z. Like,
right.
Like to have fun with the crowd, and I think that's the difference, honestly. I just think the crowds are having fun because they're back. And Texas is the only place that really did not stop wrestling through the entire COVID. We were gone for 3 months, and we were back right afterwards. We were doing empty crowd shows. Then we had literally 6 feet spread apart shows where the chairs were all grouped. Like if you had a group, they were 6 feet apart. They were like had chalk outlines where you'd sit and you had to stay in your area. Like literally, Texas was up and running like 3 months afterwards as wrestling. So it was the only place you could wrestle. So every single name, every single big star was like, hey, I want to get back to start wrestling. The only place I can go is Texas. Well, let's see what we've got. And then you start finding the mass amounts of talent here in Texas. And, I could go on about how many talented guys and girls there is, but literally we'd be here all day. So, like when those talents start coming down here and they get to start wrestling with us as well, and they start seeing like what we can do, it's just one of those things like, okay, cool. Brian Cage went down there, oh man, Lance Hoyt's kicking people's butts down there. Oh, Thunder Rose is a big name down there. Oh, Jesus. Like you just start getting a whole bunch of people's attention. And then once you start focusing on one little area, which Texas is a huge place, you just start discovering so many different talents. And, like I said, I could go on for hours literally about the guys and girls that are here in Texas, but I can't speak highly enough because literally they all just want it that bad. They're all that good. And we welcome anybody to come into our state and try us.
The invitation has been sent.
Love it. We just love to have fun, man. Come on in. Let's do it.
Exactly. So if you could wrestle anyone in any era of wrestling, who would you want to have a match against?
So I've got 2 people. And it's definitely, well, here, I'll give you 3 because I'll give you a little bit older era as well. Let's go back to Dusty Rhodes. That would be a guy just to be able to learn from, like see how well his sons have done. And they were literally that close to him all the time. Could you imagine being around him in his prime, just being able to literally talk to him about wrestling all day, every day, let alone being able to wrestle him? One 8-minute match with that guy would be worth 5-6 years of learning, I promise you. So Dusty Rhodes for sure. we'll go back to the Attitude Era because that's there I started watching wrestling in. And I'll say The Rock, simply because he was literally the most electrifying man in wrestling. Like, he didn't have to do jack crap but raise
You could say
the aura that just comes off that guy is crazy.
Right.
So just to be able to share the ring with him and just to be able to learn would be awesome. And then from today's era, it'd be AJ Styles. Simply because I think him and I could have a banger of a match. And I think I would learn so much in just the art of wrestling and like the way he thinks whenever he's putting things together. Just the way his mind works would be awesome to really be able to see.
Attack of the Clashes. Good God, that would be so great. I would literally love to see that.
Maybe, who knows? I mean, who knows when he's going to leave us? So hopefully I'll get the opportunity beforehand.
Over 500 matches, bro. I mean, with some of the top names that, I mean, when you're saying names, these are people that, like you said, we grew up. Lance Storm is, dude, like he's technician.
Archer, Hoyt, not Lance Storm. I'm sorry. Did I say Storm?
No. Marcus did.
Hoyt, I don't know who said what on that one. If it was me,
okay, you did have Lance Archer. Thank you. Excuse me, I redacted. Sorry. I tried my best to be as non-goop boy as possible, but yes, Lance Archer.
If Lance Storm wants to wrestle, let's do that too. That'd be awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, that match.
Can we be serious for a minute?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, but no, that match, like it's with when you. It doesn't matter if you have a match with a big guy, little guy, whatever. Like that's one thing I can appreciate about you is that drive is still there. Like, and I want to see more of it because, and I keep going back to your Indy because we have not yet to see you just go and allowed to go and allowed to work. And like you said, it's about paying your dues. It's about taking one step at a time. And we see this is how many times has Chandler Hopkins' name been on AEW Dark Elevation? How many times has your name been on AEW Dark period? You know, I like that mentality of that you're not going to stop. You know,
I mean, this is what I want. I didn't literally give up everything I had in my life at the age of 27 to turn around and give up 5 years into this just because I finally made it on TV or something. Like, no, like I want way more. I want championships. I want to be one of the best. I want to work the best. I want to see what I'm able to do in this career before, it's time for me to leave it. I would like to leave it a lot better place than what I found it. You know, I mean, that's still a long time coming. So, I'm going to take it day by day, of course. And like we was talking about earlier, just kind of live in the moment and make sure I live now because these are some fun times. I'm not going to lie. It's been, sometimes I kind of forget and I just need to sit back and like realize some of the cool things that I have been able to do. And sometimes I just run through them because it's like, okay, cool, got to go into the next day. And then all the days start running together. And it's like, oh, hey, that one time I did this thing, So one thing I'm trying to do is just really live in that moment. And, the future will tell, hopefully. If I sign somewhere, I sign somewhere. If I live on the Indies until I decide to retire, hey, I live on the Indies until I retire.
You won't be forgotten, dude. You will not be forgotten. No. You will not.
So what title belt do you want the most?
I mean, I'd be crazy not to say I want the AEW championship, right? Like, I'd be crazy not to say I'm there. I have opportunities at some point in time, I'm sure. But, there's a lot of titles that I'd love to add. Like, I would love to go to ROH and win titles there. I'd love to go to Impact and win titles there. The X Division Championship would look great around my shoulder, I think. But the thing is getting to those places. So really a championship at any place like that caliber, with that caliber of talent, like, awesome. Let's do it. Like, come on. I'm ready. At the end of the day, I'm still not there though. And that's a lot of drive for me because I want to be there. So until then, I'm just gonna keep grinding.
See, I love it, but still classic storytelling. That's like you said earlier. Like that's what keeps it makes you want to go back, like I said, and just follow it and follow the steps because you can see the passion, you can see the dedication. Like I really want that to work out for you, man. I do, because not only that, you're a cool guy. You're a cool ass guy. And sorry, we can't get censored for saying ass. I mean, he is. Just he is. I'm sorry. I was holding that in for so long, dude. You were like the coolest guy, and like, I have nothing but high hopes for you, man. Like,
I'm just out here trying to live my best life, baby.
You have merch. Do you have merch, sir?
I do have merch.
Ooh.
You can go to Pro Wrestling Tees, and I've got a few things on there. But the best way to do it is send me a message on any of my social media platforms. Let me know you want to see my merch, and I'll send you a slew of pictures of all my shirts, the 8x10s I have, and I'll send that straight out to you. So.
There you go. We just got a couple questions.
Cool.
One, excuse me, Mine Runner says, what has been your most funny, awkward road story? And who would you want to go on a 10-hour plus road trip with?
Funny road story, and who have I been? I've been on a lot of 10+ hour road trips with a lot of people. Man, that's been a lot of stuff. Funniest awkward road trip moment.
I gotta hear this.
Oh man, I mean, I have one, but I can't talk about it on social media for sure. But because it's definitely the most awkward, but it's just not appropriate.
It's all good. It's all good.
Honestly, there you go. You know how I was talking about my tag team partner, Magnus and Malico? So he's just a real comfortable guy, and we've shared rooms with each other while on the road many times. And this guy is just so off the wall crazy. I'm laying in my bed in one of the hotel rooms watching TV, and he comes out and he's like, "Hey man," he's in the bathroom and he's going to go just take a shower, right? He just walked in there. He comes out like after being in there for like 30 seconds, like, "Hey man, I need to see if you throw me that towel over there." So I look over and there's no towel, right? And I'm like, "Yo, bro, what towel?" When I turn around, he's just completely butt naked, and he's like, "Oh, I got you, bro," and just walks back into the bathroom like nothing happened. Took his shower, and did like when he came out, he was like, "Hey, what are you watching?" Like, "Bro, what are we gonna talk about this?" Like,
Living still lives.
Yeah, just nothing. Just, "Hey, bro. Hey, all right, cool." He's just a really cool guy. Y'all should look him up. I know Justin's heard of him, seen him, but
yeah. I think I watch him at the last Palē Pro do a drinking contest, a beer drinking contest.
Yeah, and then they had a match afterwards too, and it was freaking phenomenal.
It was great. It was awesome.
That's the difference. You don't get that when you go East Coast or West Coast. Like, you don't get that funny storytelling. Like, they told a whole story before they even wrestled of how they were drinking shots and see who could last longer. And then they had a match that was a drunken match. Like, everything they did was stumbles and bumbles, and they were drunk into each other, and it was freaking phenomenal. Like,
dude, I would love to go. Oh my god!
I texted Kyle the next day, and I was like, bar none, one of the best segments on any wrestling show I've ever seen.
Dude, I would love to see that. God, there's a lot of heart there, man. And that is really exciting.
That is an art in itself, man. And it's an art that I feel like is lost in wrestling. We just don't tell as many stories anymore, you know? Mm-hmm. If we do, they're just older, repetitive stories. It's something we've seen before. Like, cool, how are we going to take it up a little bit different? Like, let's trick the human brain a little bit. Like
yes.
Let's have some fun with what we're doing instead of just, "Hey, man, you remember that spot that so-and-so did back in 1974 or remember the so-and-so spot they did in 2001, let's do that one." Okay, brother. Like, come on, man. Be original. Let's have some fun. If you see a spot or something you like, cool, add to it. Make it your own. Like, I don't know, man. It's just something we do down here. We're just different in Texas, man. I don't know. We're just different.
Love it. I love it. Hey, Bobby asks, have you ever wrestled Griff Garrison?
No, I have not wrestled Griff Garrison, but I'll chop that big tree. Let's go.
I don't know who the F Griff Garrison is. So
hey, Griff Garrison is on AEW. He's a part of the varsity. I like Griff. I respect him and all, but I'll chop him down. Let's go. Let's have some fun.
I'm both Chandler. Sorry, I'm so biased in this man. The man's good. God, good.
So one question we typically ask once our interviews are ending is is you got a lot of people that want to be wrestlers. You know, what's one piece of advice you can give somebody that is looking to get into wrestling?
Be ready to be very selfish at times. It sounds horrible to say that, but there's just a lot of times early in your career that you have to take a lot of opportunities and chances if you really want this. And it's going to cost you a lot of time with people you love and you care about. So the sacrifice that comes with it carries a burden as well. So just be prepared and ask yourself if you're willing to carry something like that, because it's not always an easy thing to have to look back and say, hey, I missed, my nephew's 4-year-old birthday because I had a wrestling show that I had to do because it was with someone that could elevate my career. And, that's my number one goal right now, is my career. And I'm trying to make it to a spot where, I can stop and actually smell the roses from time to time. And I'm almost there. And, it had a lot of selfish moments early on. And like I said, I don't mean that like just me being selfish, everything towards me, but there was just times where I had to pick me over things that I wish I wouldn't have. And, it cost me a memory.
But that's deep, man. And that's like the cost of this business. And people don't think you're not going unnoticed, dude. I mean, believe it or not, like I can't begin to drool over you enough. But if you want to find Chandler Hopkins merch, it is on Pro Wrestle Tees. You can find him at the Young Gun himself on Twitter at, what's your handle?
All my handles for Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook are all the Young Gun _CH.
Yeah, dude, we cannot thank you enough for stopping by, giving us this time, giving us the opportunity, and just sharing the wisdom of what you're doing. And you get the opportunity to let people know what you do. We can't thank you enough. Justin, like, we did it again, baby. Bird and the Villain, man. I love it.
I appreciate you guys. I mean, like I said before, I think I said it before we went live too. So I'll go ahead and say it again. Like, you guys, by far, like, promoted the best out of anybody. I've done a few of these, and it's just by far y'all did some great promoting. Y'all did an amazing job. Some of those clips and videos y'all put together are freaking awesome. So
we gotta have him back. Sorry, I was looking up.
We will. Hey, you want to know what's funny? Is one of the first promos we did. I think it was for Ryan Justice. Marcus had Ryan Justice getting slammed, beat up in every highlight video we had.
That's messed up, man.
He came in and he was like,
Ryan now.
Ryan came in, was so mad. He was like, dude, I love it, but yeah, me getting my ass kicked and everyone, and I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't mean it. So I am like, it's no offense to him. He's a great wrestler, but he was a good sport. And
Ryan is a good guy. Yeah, he's another guy that he's been doing this. I think someone told me he's been doing this for 11 years now, and he's a guy that has just got a lot of knowledge that's just waiting to get out. And I feel like he's fixing to break it too. Like, he's fixing to just shoot straight through those freaking doors. And we're going to see a lot of him very soon, I think. So, Ryan is he's going to be one to watch.
All right. Well, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe at The Bird and the Villain. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys.
Peace.
Later.
Yep.